Warning. This program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Turkey Day is on the horizon. Warcraft celebrates another trip around the sun, and your metal guides are here once again to lead you through it all. Welcome back again, everyone, for episode 41 of the Unshackled Fury podcast, your uncensored home for all things Warcraft. I'm your host, Berzerker, and with me, as always, is the gravy to my mashed potatoes. He is Navox. Welcome back again, sir.
Gobble, gobble, sir.
Gobble, gobble.
You all ready for the holidays?
Time is now,
Yeah.
as they say. Yes, as we record this, we are falling upon Thanksgiving week, the start of full-on, rip-roaring, face-melting, mind-numbing, family-feeding frenzy holiday season. And I'm about to hit the road, so as we're recording this, I've got, about 15 hours till I'm going to be in an airplane. So
nice.
Let's hope I can get this edited and up before then, because otherwise, welcome back from Thanksgiving. But yeah, we're taking the big trip this week. Gonna head out, see some family, enjoy some snow, get the hell out of this Northern California air, because my God, we actually had the worst air quality on the planet.
I saw that was real sad.
So yeah, it's a good time to leave.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad. For anyone that hasn't seen it, an entire town in California has been wiped off the map pretty much. 90+% of the town of Paradise is gone. If you happen to see any sort of Red Cross or somebody else taking donations, please help those folks out, because right now they're getting kicked out of a Walmart parking lot because it's the only place they have to stay. So,
oh my God, really? They're getting kicked out of a Walmart parking lot.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's
Oh
pretty
my
brutal up here.
God.
So in the season of Thanksgiving that we have and everything else, keep those folks in your thoughts, and if there's any way you can kick them down a few bucks, feel free. But not to drag it down too much. But that's the plan on this side of things. How about yourself? Are you hosting the Big Turkey Day, or are you getting a GTFO?
Oh no! We would love to be able to host the Big Turkey Day. However, you know how it goes with families, and families can be a little challenging at times.
What?
Oh yeah, so we've got.
What are you talking about?
We get to split the day up. Like my wife and I were discussing.
God.
Yeah, my wife and I were actually, there were a couple options on the table. One was we would each go separately to each other's families' houses.
That never bodes well, because that just invites more questions than you really need to deal with.
Yeah, it really does. But I think it's and the problem is, one family would get the dig, but the other family, the dig, it would just go over their heads, and they wouldn't actually get the dig that we did that. And then there's always the one family that wants to, quote unquote, screw the other family out of time because they know we're kind of splitting things up. So it's like,
damn, is that the situation you're in?
when is dinner time? Oh, 3:00 in the afternoon. Okay, so you've split that day in fucking half. Okay, so now, we're visiting one family from 11:00 in the morning till 3:00 in the afternoon, and then we get to show up to the other family's house at 3:00, and then when we get there, the conversation's gonna go, "Hey, why aren't you hungry?" Well, because we already ate first dinner, so we're showing up for dessert.
You're like a hobbit.
Can you be happy about that? No, we can't be happy about that. So let's complain about that kind of stuff. But you know what? It's family. We put up with it because it's family. And
Yes.
I'm very fortunate to have the scuffle, the strife, the goings on of family. I know there's a lot of people out there who don't have family and don't get to experience all this. So I'm thankful that, through all the, crap we put up with during the holidays, at least there is, the family there. So
It is, you try to find that fine balance between.
Oh, I'm trying to find that fine balance in the happy stuff, but it's like.
Sometimes you just got to be real about the fact that dealing with certain members of your family, thankful as you are to have a family, they can still be an enormous pain in the ass.
Exactly.
And, you and I, we obviously we talk off the air, but on this particular show, we don't get real political on this show, but I think it's easy and safe to say that in this modern era, with the state of politics in the world being what they are, the Thanksgiving dinner table is just like a fucking minefield, just totally you can't negotiate your way through it.
I need to bring props to dinner, I think. I'm going to bring the death ray, because that's, you've heard that theory, that why are the trees still standing?
All of our fires are being caused by laser beams. Yes. Yeah, go tell that to the people that
oh my God.
We've been sending donations to.
And then you've got, contrails. Oh God, I don't want to even go into that. I don't. All the stuff.
Yeah, this is why we don't talk about.
This is why we don't talk about the stuff at the table. This is why we don't talk about the stuff during raids. This is why we don't bring anything up, because it just it will rub one person one way or another. It's just
it's too real.
Cousins and uncles and conspiracy theories. That's all I have to say about that. It's like
God bless Wild Turkey at 151.
Oh God, yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
But you know what?
So
I did do something fun this past 2 weeks. I managed to get my wife, Geek Chic Lisa, to play WoW again, and we did something a little bit different. She rolled a warrior. And she boosted the warrior.
What?
She rolled a warrior. She made a night elf hunter. Oh, I'm sorry. I take that back. She rolled a night elf warrior, and we boosted it to 110. And now we're just questing around all the new stuff, and it's fun because she's going like, "Wow, this is all fun. This is cool. This is new. This is." What we've been doing wrong all these years is going from 1 to try to level from 1 to 60, and then from 60 to do all that shit. Nope. Just guys, listen, if your significant other wants to play WoW with you and you're just like, all right, yeah, let's do that. Gauge how they feel about leveling. Let them sit down and play your main for a little bit in the new content, and I guarantee you just want to boost the tune. It's worth it just to boost the tune, and then eventually, for fun, after you get to 120 and there's nothing to do, you can go back and level something else from 1 to what have you, and go from there. But definitely experience all the current content before going through the old content. But yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
They say the family that slays together stays together.
Yeah. It's true.
So I don't know who they are, but I hear that's what they say. Well, in this Thanksgiving mood, we've got somewhat of a crowdsourced rage topic this week, and we are, a little bit on the lighter side of news, so this is probably going to be somewhat of a shorter episode, I think. So hopefully, folks that are listening to this, you're out getting your holiday travel on, or you are trying to avoid the holiday madness that we've discussed, or you know what, this is just another week for you, and if that's the case, thanks for listening along. You can hear about all the bullshit that comes along with Thanksgiving. So why don't we go ahead and dive into a rage portion, and you can tell the folks all about this week's topic.
Let's rage.
So you and I were getting ready for this show this week, and you came up with a phenomenal idea for a rage topic, and one that, this is a limitless supply of answers to this question. So why don't you tell the fine folks about what we're raging on this week?
Yeah, so a week ago, we asked all of our faithful listeners out there to give us some foods that you just absolutely loathe on Thanksgiving. And now, being the Unshackled Fury podcast, we needed a rage segment, and so now we're going to give you the Unshackled Fury versus Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a couple tweets here about deviled eggs and how they're not food. So Logan Geary
completely disagree, but please go ahead.
Logan says deviled eggs are not food. Fight me.
Tell me the time and place. I will fight you.
I will say that I have gotten sick on deviled eggs before, so I've had some really good deviled eggs, and they were so good that I would eat an entire plate of them till I would get sick to my stomach.
Damn right. They were a portal straight to hell. Straight to gastrointestinal hell, because I will have to stop myself physically from grabbing like a ninth one. And God help who's ever in the room with me about an hour later. You are so fucked. But I will eat a carton of deviled eggs. There's no question. Those are definitely a food and a favorite. If you do not have them, don't ever invite me back.
So we also have Slick Rock and Xanatees. They say the sweet potato is literally the tuber of all evil. Not only does it take the form of the blessed potato and curse it with a disgusting sweetness,
Ugh.
but it's then smothered in molasses to make a sea of wretched, overwhelming sugar gone wrong.
Oh,
and there's also the terrible texture. What? I love sweet potatoes. What?
Yes.
What is going on here? What?
This is, as these, and we're going to go through more of these, but
yes.
I'm just going to go ahead and presage the fact that I disagree with about 99% of the comments you got. I don't know what is wrong with these people. What is wrong with you people? These are the best choices. Sweet potatoes, you get the sweet potato or the yam.
Oh, the marshmallows. Oh, my God. Mix some
No
marshmallows.
marshmallows.
Oh, come on. Marshmallows, and you mix
marshmallows.
in some almonds with it. Or
No.
was it almonds or walnuts or something? You brown
No.
the walnuts and what was it?
No.
Pecans? Hang on. I'm getting some help here. What's in the marshmallows? Or what do you put in the sweet potatoes?
Oh, pecans.
Pecans. Yes. You cook.
You are both wrong. You don't nut the sweet potato. And you don't marshmallow the sweet potato either. What's wrong with you? Live
so
in the
good.
South, don't
That's
you?
Right. We put marshmallows with everything, I think.
God, I bet you eat
Scrambled
ambrosia
eggs
salad,
and,
don't you?
Oh, no. Not ambrosia salad. No. Ugh. So, yeah.
No. This is utterly wrong, because sweet potato. You take the sweet potato and you get brown sugar, you get butter, you bake it all together, and it is that sweet, syrupy, goopy, half chunky, delicious, brown shapeless goodness. That's like a staple. You put that in the middle of the plate, and then you build everything else around. It's like the donut hole of Thanksgiving dinner. How dare you? Who's next?
All right. Up next, we have Devlin and Lonnie. They don't like canned cranberries. They said no canned cranberries. And we're also going to jump into another one next, but we're going to say no canned cranberries, and that's their final answer.
That's the best.
You like the canned cranberries?
If my cranberry sauce is not in the shape of the can and I can't see the little ridges, throw that shit out the window. Nobody wants that. You can slice it, and you put the nice little slice on top of your turkey. You put
That's
the
right.
gravy on top of that. It's almost like
The body of Christ?
for the people that don't eat the bread. It's like a sandwich. It's a glorious Thanksgiving sandwich without the bread.
Little circle there, yeah.
It's so good. I mean, it comes out of a can. It's pre-made to slice and enjoy. Not this goopy, crappy, whatever, real cranberry stuff.
Yeah, who's got time to make real cranberry sauce? I'm sure there's a lot of people out
apparently
there.
these highfalutin individuals do. Terrible.
So, on next, we've got Jamal and Vash. Jamal says green bean casserole, but only when they're ridiculously soupy and run all over the other food. After that, probably ham. It's Thanksgiving. Eat turkey, you heathens.
Agreed.
If there's only ham, I might as well be in prison. Now, listen. I'm not a turkey person. My wife's not a turkey person. We are not turkey people, so we do ham on Thanksgiving. So, yeah, but
Nobody's perfect.
I also do like. I do like me some green bean casserole.
Hell yeah. Green bean casserole
With the
is only
onions?
second to the turkey.
Oh my God, you just eat those onions before you even throw it on the casserole. you got to get like 2 boxes, one for the casserole, one
Yeah.
for, you to eat while you're making the casserole.
That's the only reason the French's Onions Company even exists. for one day a year, when 10 million cartons of fried onions get sold in that container, the rest of the, I mean, you're probably eating them, when they're 4 years old because they just sit there forever.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I will agree with the comment that when it is ridiculously soupy, yes, that's a problem. Because you want the glory of the true Thanksgiving plate is that you have mostly a bunch of stuff that is the same color, that is in slightly different shades of orange and brown. That's kind of where you're at. It's the perfect holiday feast. But the one speck of color that you get is usually the green bean casserole, which is this lovely amalgamation of cheese and onion and vegetable, and it all comes together to become this enjoyable concoction of culinary delights. And how dare anyone besmirch the good name of green bean casserole?
Well, there you have it.
This is unbelievable that this many people are against the great green bean casserole on this holiday. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's move on.
All right, we're going to move on to something, and I think we may both get unhinged on this one. But Miss Noyd and Graves said pumpkin pie.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
What's going on with pumpkin pie?
Did they mistakenly have like a different kind of pie and thought it was a pumpkin pie and it was a mistake?
Maybe.
Like, did they really eat like a rutabaga pie?
Probably.
They're like, oh, this tastes like shit. And someone's like, oh yeah, it's a pumpkin pie because they were, I don't know, drunk and blind.
I will say this: over the years, I'll have a slice of pumpkin pie with some Cool Whip, but I will say that there's a dish out there that Jell-O makes. It's a pumpkin spice pudding that's actually really, really good. That my wife makes. We can't find it in Florida anymore. I think Jell-O's like, you know what? Let's get the hell out of Florida after everything that happened.
I would think with the average age of your populace that you would have every Jell-O available.
You would think that I would have every Jell-O available, but not pumpkin spice apparently.
Oh,
but yeah, guys, pumpkin pie. Ugh.
Dude, pumpkin. I mean, okay, turkey number 1, green bean casserole number 2, pumpkin pie number 3. I mean, these are like
staples.
This is like saying I love baseball except for when people hit the ball with the bat.
I like baseball except for the bat, the ball, the players.
I love to watch football except when there's a ball in motion on the field. I mean, I don't even know how to address something like the pumpkin pie. How can you not like pumpkin pie? My God, you must have had a really shitty pumpkin pie. Like, did somebody throw asphalt in it or drop it on the
dirt,
ground?
Yeah. Or they burnt it. Growing up, I know that if you buy the store-bought pumpkin pies and you let them be in the oven for too long, they get that really black texture on top that, it chars it, and you're like, ugh, I don't want to eat this. And then, Yeah.
But yeah. I don't even know if it's a pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie, I mean, that is Thanksgiving. My God.
All right.
Move on.
So we've saved the absolute fucking worst for last. And now, Zerker, you've had some experience with this from the sound of it.
Yes. Arianarine?
Yes.
If I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah.
Chimed into you, and I'm going to read what she said
Please.
here because I think that she sums it up pretty well. Oyster stuffing. You heard that correctly. You get what you think is going to be delicious, bready, meaty goodness. You take your first bite and think, this tastes a bit odd. Maybe too much celery? Then you take another bite and get a mouthful of disgusting, fishy, slimy oyster hiding in your bread.
God.
At our Thanksgiving feast, my dad made traditional stuffing and my mom made oyster stuffing with canned oysters. Oh, God. It was disgusting, but she and a couple other people loved it. I, however, prefer to eat food without fishy snot in. I agree. No one wants to eat stuffing that somebody blew a load in.
I've never, ever, ever heard of this before this point. Like, I've never heard of
I think
oyster
that this
stuffing.
is some kind of crazy East Coast thing.
It must be northeast because I've never heard of oyster stuffing.
It's the only thing I have been served this from a native of Virginia, so this is kind of where I'm going,
Gotcha.
northeast kind of deal, right? And it is one of the most disconcerting meals that you can ever find yourself faced with, especially when you are not expecting it after years
of not having
traditional
stuffing.
Just cornbread, bread, stuffing,
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time I've eaten this shit out of a box, but you get the really good stuff every once in a while out of the turkey. You cook it in the turkey, by the way. All these truthers that are like, don't cook it in the turkey. You cook it in the turkey. That's the only way to make it. It's the only way to make it. I have strong feelings about a lot of things in Warcraft, but goddamn it, when it comes to my food and Thanksgiving dinner, this is about the most riled up you'll ever see me. Yes, ban the oyster stuffing. And only second to the oyster stuffing is when, we were talking about the sweet potatoes earlier, is when somebody mixes in parsnips with the sweet potatoes and maybe some potatoes and they call it root vegetables. No! Parsnips are like licking the bottom of a dirty boot. They're bitter and disgusting and they ruin everything. So no parsnips, no oyster stuffing, but jam all the rest of the stuff on there and then throw a big ass roll right on the top. That's what I need. All right, I think I've expounded enough on this subject, but is there anything else that you would like to add in terms of sides that do not deserve a place altar of Thanksgiving?
No, I love all the sides. I like I said before, I'm not a big turkey person. I like ham over the turkey. I'll eat turkey if it's on the table. But it's more, the turkey becomes a delivery method for which I scoop the sweet potatoes on and everything else. I'll mash everything together and then just,
like a cracker.
Like a cracker, exactly.
Like a cracker is for cheese.
That's right.
Well, at the end of the day, if you are lucky enough to be somewhere on Thanksgiving, whatever the meal is and whatever they're serving to you, consider yourself fortunate. And really that's, that is what it's all about. But God help me if I show up and there's oyster stuffing.
Oh, man. Tweet at us.
I might throw that.
I think everybody should tweet. I think everybody on Thanksgiving, if you were just like, oh, my God, just tweet at the show. Let us see your Thanksgiving. If you find something, terrible, show it to us. If you find something great, show it to us. Why don't we just all come together on Thanksgiving as one big Unshackle Fury family? And, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up our rage portion. And happy Thanksgiving to you all. Hope your luck is good when it comes to what you may or may not have, if you're lucky to have anything at all. So let's go ahead and jump into our news. And first up, we will be talking about Sylvanas and maybe a bit of a retcon. Let's find out. Okay, so as we settle into this week and sort of the holiday season, it's not that news is going to slow down. There's going to be all kinds of items coming out. We've got a fresh patch coming right around the corner, so there will be items. But this past week or so, it's been a little bit slower. But one of the big bombs that seems to have blown up in recent days has been coming out of an article that Alex Afrasiabi had with Eurogamer, where he referenced the fact that the blight that was used at the Wrathgate was under Sylvanas' orders. And going back to Wrath of the Lich King and the Wrathgate, which if you haven't played through that, if you haven't seen that, and somehow you missed all of that or you forgot, essentially what happened was the forces of the Alliance and the Horde were battling up to Icecrown Citadel. They were at the Wrathgate, which was an entry point essentially into Icecrown Citadel. The Lich King comes out. There's a bit of a battle going on. Some people die. And right when they're in the middle of all of this, these Forsaken forces come out and blight the entire area, lay waste to both sides, Horde and Alliance. The attack on the Lich King actually looks like it does some damage to him. But we were always led to believe, for the most part, that this was a third party. This was a sort of a factional split off. Yeah, splinter faction that was responsible for this. And this is the first time we've heard somebody of Afrasiabi's level coming out and saying unequivocally Sylvanas knew about this, and this was actually under her order. So what did you think when you heard this?
I was a little taken back because, one, I was under the impression that it was, what's his face, that, was showing some sort of, for lack of backbone, to overthrow Sylvanas's power at that point.
This was Grand Apothecary Putris
Yes.
who was trying to overthrow her.
Yes, that's what I thought. That's what I was led to believe, that she didn't know anything about this, and this was...
And Veramathras, who we saw in a very precarious position in the last expansion. Remember, he was chained up?
Yeah, he was chained up and tortured. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it was Putris and Veramathras, who we had always believed were essentially in charge of this whole overthrow situation.
Yeah. Yeah, but so now we're told that it's Sylvanas that actually did this, and that we shouldn't be surprised by it. Okay. Well, if Afraziabi Obi-Wan Kenobi says that that's the way it goes, that's the way it is.
I feel like people are becoming more and more upset with Afraziabi as he tries to fill in these little lore gaps here and there, and they're like, there he goes again.
It's like Varian didn't die, he just
retcon.
vanished. He's a rogue. He just vanished there, and now he's back, guys. That's how we bring him back.
All of a sudden, Thrall is Varian's dad. Little did you know. Well, what's funny about this is that when this first popped up, we saw this and we're like, oh my god, like how could this be? We know Sylvanas is dark and she's coming after us, and there's a whole bunch of really gnarly shit happening, but this was not really something that I think people had understood could be possible. And where I completely forgot about something was in the Chronicles. So in the Warcraft Chronicle, in Volume 3, there's actually a quote here where it mentions that, quote, like most good lies, Sylvanas Windrunner's account of the rebellion in the Undercity contains some truth. Grand Apothecary Putris truly had attempted to overthrow her, and Veramathras truly was trying to claim the Forsaken in the name of the Burning Legion. But the plague had been created at her direction. Sylvanas was willing to take vengeance against the Lich King at any cost, even by making a weapon as deadly as the plague. Whether she was aware that Putris and Veramathras were planning to use the concoction remained a mystery. Rumors persisted that she knew about the attack at the Wrathgate beforehand, and her denials did not assuage the doubts of her detractors. So they laid those seeds some time ago in the Chronicle, which I guess it's kind of the double-edged sword of having these ancillary materials, is that when you say something in a Chronicle, not everybody's going to know that, oh crap, Sylvanas might have really been bad for like way longer than everybody knew.
Yeah.
So interesting yet again that all of our fears about Sylvanas are coming true, is that she really was pretty bad.
She is very bad, yeah.
The one thing that I wanted to add on this is that after this came out, I think the internet was a little bit afire as to, ooh, shit, is Afraziabi trying to retcon here? Okay, they buried something in a Warcraft Chronicle, so maybe it's not, but we've never seen anything this explicit. Well, there's actually a pretty good article on Wowhead, and it's titled Interpreting Alex Afraziabi's Statement on Sylvanas and the Wrathgate, that I think is worth a pretty good read for folks, because what this is looking at is what would the motivations be for Sylvanas to be behind an attack like this? Because right now you've got a completely different situation for her, for the Horde, for the Alliance, for the planet as a whole, than you had existing way before all of this when the Wrathgate occurred, because all of her life was about claiming her vengeance on Arthas.
Right.
In fact, if you read the short story, and I know we've talked about this several times, but there is a phenomenal short story that was written, I believe, by Dave Cossack, who is now of Hearthstone fame. But there was a short story called Edge of Night where it talks about how when she saw that Arthas, I guess, was gone, but there was still a Lich King installed, that she had pretty much given up hope, and she threw herself off the top of Icecrown Citadel and blew up her body and essentially went into the void and some really crazy, awful crap happened, and that's where she got her Valkyr and came back as this, sort of this version that we know of her now. But it doesn't really seem clear why she would go after her own people at the Wrathgate, other than, I don't know, maybe she wanted to get some potential challengers out of the way. I mean, why would she do that? What do you think the motivation would be? And like I said, there's a great article in here. You can kind of take a look at the various angles on this, but what do you think, Nav?
Well, Sylvanas to me is still a villain character. I know that she's beloved by many, and everybody's hoping, there's still good in her because of all the stuff, she spends time with her sisters and, all that set aside. I have a feeling that just, the stuff that she went through with Arthas, that she just wants to drag everybody down with her at this point, and she doesn't care who she kills. And as long as she can keep the confusion, the fog of war there, then she can go on with her whole quest of, and you've said this before, her whole quest of tracking down Arthas and the Lich King, or the current Lich King at the time, Bolvar, take him out, take his powers, and then, her ability to stay alive for her immortality is sealed at that point once she, has that. And I think that's where we've said it multiple times. You brought it up, and I agree that, we will see her at some point head to head with Bolvar. It's going to happen, and there's little hints here and there that we will see Bolvar again. The fact that we're dealing with his daughter, or that we quest with his daughter on the Alliance side, it's screaming that the story is going to be brought to light again, and that Sylvanas is going to, and I don't think the Lich King in its current incarnation with Bolvar there is going to be as quote unquote evil as Arthas was, because Arthas went down a dark path, and not only it came to fruition with him when he was finally defeated, and he's like, his father comes out and says no king rules forever, and he's like, blah blah blah. He finally realized all that stuff. But you've got a paladin who was for the light, and in service he took up the mantle of the Lich King, which I don't. He can control the power of the scourge and all of that, but I don't think he wields it in the same way as Arthas did. Now, I know I'm a little long-winded there, but ultimately I think Sylvanas has always been out for herself, and the Horde have to actually make a decision whether or not they want to back Sylvanas or Sorrowfang coming up. Spoilers. So there's that too. So I'm trying to figure out where they're going to go with the story. And I definitely want to be surprised. I'd like to, we'll know more. We'll know more coming up in the upcoming patch. We're going to get a patch in December, and Tides of Vengeance, I believe. And then, we'll go from there.
Yeah. It's curious that they would feel the need, if they do now, to try to build her up more as a villain, where I think that she's, I don't know, pretty much attained the height of villainhood in World of Warcraft. I mean, she burned down Teldrassil. That doesn't get much worse than that when you've essentially laid waste to one of the most famous and beloved places in all of Warcraft lore.
Yeah.
But to your point, it is the quest for the mastery of undeath that seems to drive her, and as far as I know, in Warcraft lore, as it currently stands, there are only 2 characters that really have that ability or can touch that ability, one being the Lich King, which they don't even make a distinction between Bolvar and the Lich King. He's just the Lich King now.
Yeah, he's just a Lich King now, yeah.
I don't know that he is necessarily as... I don't think he's really good anymore either. Where his motivations are probably different. I'm going on a little tangent here, but if you played through the Death Knight class order hall, you know what's up. There's some shit happening, and he is not the righteous paladin that we once knew. And I think over time, everyone becomes corrupted, and that's one of the lessons. Is no matter how good you are, no matter how strong you are, the power of the Lich King, the power of the Helm of Domination, all of that stuff, it's just too strong for any one person to stand against forever. And I do agree with you, and we have talked about it here, where there has to be some confrontation between either Sylvanas and the Lich King, which is one entity with a mastery of undeath, or two, this Bwonsamdi character that's been introduced in this expansion, where I believe he has as strong a control of death or undeath as any other character has had in Warcraft. And that character right now is front and center to this expansion. So there could be something there as well. Again, for us, I try to only experience it as we play it, so maybe there's been some data mine stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to talk on it, but then I'm like, I don't really want to talk about it here because you probably haven't looked at any of that stuff. So I have, because I'm one of those people. So we won't ruin it for the show then. Yeah.
All right. So, but needless to say, that was quite an interesting conversation that was rolling this week. So if you get a chance, check out the Eurogamer article, and also check out the couple of articles on Wowhead, particularly the breakdown about Sylvanas and why that could have been happening, because I think that is very pertinent to the discussion that we've been having related to our current storyline to Sylvanas, and gives you a bit of context for also how we got to where we are. So beyond that, really the other major piece of news that I thought we could talk about this week are the additional BlizzCon Q&A questions that just recently popped up on the forums. When BlizzCon occurred, we had our Q&A, as we talked about last time, and there were still some questions that were, I guess, approved to be asked, but they ran out of time, and so they ended up, and they said this at BlizzCon, that they would answer these questions on the forums, and those questions and answers have now popped up, and there were a handful of the 8, I believe, that were posted that I thought were pretty interesting. I wish we could have heard more discussion about them at the time, but there'll be topics for us to talk about here. The first being, and this relates, I think, pretty strongly to what we just talked about, is over the course of the last 14 years, we've killed many Warcraft villains. What is your strategy for introducing new characters and threats to this universe? And the answer, it's not a terribly long answer, but it does go into the fact that the RTS games were really the genesis for many of the original bad guys that we had. But also that if you pay attention to the game that we've been playing in World of Warcraft, there have been some pretty major characters that have lived and died completely within the sphere of World of Warcraft. They had talked about how Onyxia was one, the Defias cult was one. Even Garrosh Hellscream, who we saw from Burning Crusade as just a sad orc, and then suddenly he was trying to burn down the world. Had a hell of a loop going in there, and eventually falling to Thrall in a pretty sweet cinematic scene. But when you're taking a look at, as they had said, the seeds are planted and clues are out there to point to the foes in the future, what seeds do you see out there? And I know we just touched on this a little bit, but what seeds do you see are getting planted out there, and who do you think are going to be the next set of baddies that we see?
Well, I mean, I know it's not an old God expansion, but I think we're going to be dealing with, N'Zoth and everything that they already talked about, raids in the water and Ajara and things like that. But beyond that, I think if they're going to introduce new villains, other than spawning more islands, the only other place I could think of would be coming from, space and other dimensions. The backside
of Azeroth, man.
the underside of Azeroth for the flat Azerothers. I mean, at some point, and all the technology that they're putting into the game, the AI that they're building up in the game to place, smart against other player characters is just it's screaming to me that they will start they could create separate factions that would that could play like other players, and so you would have this other faction coming from a villain or an enemy or a force of some nature come to Azeroth and invade, and then we have to team up together again and fight them off because, it's not a playable race. It's just something else. But I would like to see something, I like all the old lore. I like the lore. I like learning about it. I like the dragon aspects. I like all that kind of stuff. But it would be nice to have some, and we're always asking for new. Oh, it'd be nice to have new stuff, but I really like my old stuff. Why can't I have my old stuff and you're giving me new stuff? It's like, I can see it coming from space and other other parts of the galaxy, rather than spawning up another island somewhere and say, hey, look, by the way, these guys were floating on a turtle all this time, and so
how did we miss
there's
that?
still a big turtle floating around out there.
There is.
But yeah,
it's interesting as we go along, because I think that there are always those, like they mentioned, these threads where did these people come from, or where did these people go, or what happened to this person or that person? And with the most obvious example I think that we talk about here and beat just to no end is the Lich King.
Yes,
where
we do
big presence still in the game, not Arthas necessarily, but Bolvar, the Bolvar Lich King, still out there, still doing things, kind of doing some nefarious shit. Like it if you're talking about a thread, it seems pretty obvious that character will break out of that ice again at some point and do something.
Yeah.
That to me seems like the kind of thread that exists out there. Another one, no pun intended, is that we do have the ethereals out there, the space mummies. And, what's going on with them? Where did they come from? Why are they here? Why have we seen them? Like, there's just these little things like that are out there. Another one I can think of is, if you go back to the Illidan days, Maiev Shadowsong, who was his warden, right? She was the jailer.
Yeah.
If you read the Wolfheart book about Varian, she does some really fucked up shit in that book.
Oh,
and
I haven't read it yet.
She never gets held to account for it, and seemingly in Legion, when she comes back, nobody seems to know that she straight up murdered a bunch of people.
Oh.
And you're like, okay. So I think that there's always stuff like that people are paying attention to, which I'm sure is what they're alluding to here. I guess the thing that I love is when there's stuff that's totally obvious right out in the open and none of us caught it. Or very few of us did. We're like, oh,
yes, yeah, I agree.
I totally should have seen that.
Yeah.
So it's good to know at the very least that, yes, as they said in their answer to this question, they plan these expansions out way in advance. I mean, you're talking years and years and years in advance. It's not like they just decided last week what to do. So those threads exist. Those seeds are planted. It's good to get a sense of what that is. One of the other questions I thought that more of a tech question for you is, somebody asked, when will the WoW mobile app ever be complete? And I think that they were asking in reference to some of the functionality that doesn't quite exist on there yet, like I think used to on the older, because we used to have another Warcraft app in years past, and it had some other things on it. You could look at your character and do some different stuff.
Auction house stuff.
I think there was some guild chat, and that seems to have been all replaced by the companion app, which doesn't do much more than sending your folks on missions. But how often would you say that you use the mobile app, the one that we have now? And is there anything on it that there could be that would get you to use it more than you do?
I used it a lot in Legion just because I needed to do my, you were tied to the table. So you were telling your guys to go out and, the companion app, you were telling your guys to constantly go out and do missions all the time. I don't know how much they could actually put into it that I would actually use it, because communication, we have Discord, SMS, Google Hangouts. I talk to my friends through Discord. I'm not using the WoW mobile app. There's never been a time where I've been at work and been like, I've got to get a hold of somebody that's playing World of Warcraft right now. There's never been. Of
course you have. How dare you?
But, I can see how it would be important for those, the guilds that are in game 24/7 and they need to communicate with people in game. But other than that, to me, it's just like, I'm not going to install the app. I'm not going to use the app. It's something I just don't have. I use the authenticator. I love the authenticator, and that's about all the app that I need from Blizzard on my phone right now.
Well, one of the other questions that was asked was about the future plans for pet battles, and they said that they were going to take a fresh look at how they wanted to do that. What if they added pet battles as a mobile app? Now, I know that coming out of Diablo Immortal, maybe the mobile thing isn't so popular, but what if they added pet battles to the companion app?
If they added pet battles to the companion app, I'm sure that the people who do pet battling will love it. Because actually, you know what? I might get into pet battle if they put that if they put pet battles on the companion app. Maybe it would be something I would get into. I can't get into doing pet battles. It's just not for me. I've tried it 3 or 4 different times. I can't get into it. I've tried.
I know this is a podcast, but I wish people could see your face right now when you're talking about this. You look so pained to be talking about pet battles. You're like, please, Jesus, why did you pick this?
I know people love pet battling. I know there's people out there that do it. I have some dear friends that do nothing but do pet battles all the time and collect them all and the Pokemon things. It's just, I can't get into it. It's just not my thing. I think, and so to each their own.
I would definitely do more pet battling if it was on a mobile app. I'm not gonna lie.
If the mobile app had if it had pick your class, warrior, and then you had Bladestorm, and you just pressed it and it just showed somebody doing Bladestorm, I'd probably play the app. What is it doing? I don't know. I just press Bladestorm and it shows my character doing a spinning thing, and it's like, cool.
You need to develop that app right away. Just Bladestorm app.
Just Bladestorm. What is it? It's nothing. It's just my character
Put it up
and
on
he's spinning
Skyhold.
around.
All right, one last question I'm going to pick out here. There was another one about Warforging and Titan Forging, and people asking if it was going to go away. And no, it's not, and I like it, and I'm glad that it's here, so I don't know. Deal with it. The last question is how do you plan to accommodate new players who are overwhelmed by the size of the content? And their answer, for the most part, was about it's the double-edged sword of there's a ton of content, and that's what makes this game great. Is it's a fully fleshed out world and it's a lot of stuff to explore, but at the same time it is daunting, and they are trying to look at how do they make the experience for a new player better than what it is now.
I could one thing right off the bat is, and I actually experienced this with Lise. She was she boosted her warrior, and during they gave her all the abilities, and right off the bat it goes, okay, so press your charge, and then charge the dummy target and do all that kind of stuff. Now this is what you want to do. You want to hit your mortal strike, and your mortal strike does this, and then hit your overpower this. It was a rundown of what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it. That's not given to you when you roll a level 1 toon. It's given to you when you roll a level 100 toon or you boost a toon. And I'm sorry, a 110 at this point when you boost a 110. That tutorial is there. I would almost, I understand the leveling from its infancy, where you want to start at 1 and go forward. But I almost wonder if it wouldn't be best at this point if you would just start players at level 20 or something with more abilities than what they're given right now, and a rundown of those abilities. Or I really don't know. The in-game stuff helps out a lot. I just know from experience that while you're questing and you're low level, there's a lot of questions like, what am I supposed to do now? I finished out this zone. Okay, great. Now where am I supposed to go? Am I doing this right? I don't know if I'm doing this right. Well, if you if you had somebody who just picked WoW up off the shelf and they got in game, they didn't do any research on the internet for anything, they just jumped in game, rolled their character, kept going. I almost wonder if those people would just be lost completely from 1 to 60 and not know what to do until 60 when the quest pop. Well, we did it, but there weren't a lot of stuff to do at the time. But I have a feeling that, I don't know.
I think that there's more resources. I mean, dear God, we go back to the days of Thoughtbot. There was no Wowhead back then. There was crowdsourced answers to what quests were, maybe.
The other thing is this: it might be going back to the AI thing. Who says at some point we can't log in a game and throw a couple gold at somebody and have a healer follow us around and heal us while we're questing or something like that? People bot all the time, but I think, with the AI, you could do something like that would help out new players when they get up new players. Hey, do you want a companion to follow you around? Here's Joe the priest, and Joe the priest is going to run around and heal you while you're running around killing stuff. And I don't know.
That's actually a really good idea. Yeah, what if you had some kind of companion, not super OP, but
right.
somebody that could, if you're DPS spec, like a warrior, we have very limited healing abilities,
right.
but you had, a priest tagging along, or maybe you have a priest and you have, a warrior tank.
I would level a priest in a heartbeat if I had a warrior. Like, I would level a priest if I had a warrior companion that could go with me, because God help me, I wouldn't want to try to do damage or anything as a priest. Like, I just want to heal. Like, if I wanted to heal, it's like, yeah. I mean, I don't have any clothies, but yeah.
Man, you got your thinking cap on today.
Yeah, I don't know. You caught me at the end of the work day.
Good thought. Listen up, Blizz. I'm sure you're taking notes on every episode of the show. But that's a damn good idea for free right there. It really is a daunting experience to take in the breadth and depth of what this game has become over 14 years. And a while back when they talked about how they'd revamped the leveling experience, where now you weren't necessarily locked zone to zone, that you could finish out zones and you could really explore and enjoy the game a lot more. And I did level up a dwarf paladin up to, I don't know, somewhere in the 20s before I was like, yep, I'm out of time, I gotta go do something else. But it really was, one, a lot easier than it was way back in the day when I first leveled my toon. But at the same time, you realize, like, man, there's so, like, you can't do it all on one character,
right?
Unless you just don't give a shit about anything giving quest rewards or anything that's relevant, and you just do it to complete the content, because there really is just so much now. And you really do have to go to a third-party site like a Wowhead or an Icy Veins or one of these other ones to say, okay, what do I do now? Where do I go? What is relevant? Because there's so much.
Yeah, there is a lot and you do. I mean, honestly, for anybody who just picks the game up, you get a lot of game for what you're purchasing right now. Like, it's the biggest game, I think, at this point. I think it is the largest game created at this point.
And that's part of the reason why I think we enjoy it so much, is because there just is so much. You don't feel like, and this is the complaint that I've had about other games, other MMOs, other sort of similar styles of games, is that the world looks amazing, but then the more that you dive into it, the emptier it feels, because there's not enough story, there's not enough oomph there behind it to really help immerse you in what's going on. Whereas Warcraft, not only World of Warcraft, but the Warcraft franchise, you have 20 years of all of the 20 plus years of all of this lore and history, and they've packed all of that into the game. And part of it is just time, and people are impatient, I think, more than ever. And so it's like, I want to know what I need to know, and I want to know it now, and then that's it. And with as much as we have, you kind of have to take it in bite-sized chunks in order for it to be somewhat digestible. But yeah, that companion idea, that's got some merit, dude. I think Blizzard, send the man an application, and he'll help you with the future game design. So, like I said, there were other questions that were asked outside of what actually appeared on the BlizzCon Warcraft Q&A panel. So go ahead and head out to the forums, your favorite websites that report on Warcraft items, and you will see all of the questions and answers there, and think about what you might want to suggest for ways to improve player life quality. So, last couple of things here before we go. It is the World of Warcraft anniversary coming up. World of Warcraft finally turns 14. I don't know what that's significant of. 14. That's
14.
It's a year.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's... You can't drive a car yet. 14, I don't know. It still kind of sucks.
Yeah, 14 still kind of sucks.
Yeah. But for this year, we do have some fun little anniversary things going on. Mainly the fact that you get to go hack on the Dragons of Nightmare again.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't know what those are, way back when, there used to be these portals in a couple of locations across Azeroth, and these green dragons were out there, and they had all kinds of crazy abilities to go fight them, and they'd fuck you up. They also had Azergos, who was the big blue dragon that appeared in a Toyota Tacoma commercial years ago.
That's right.
When somebody cast the 4 Wheels of Fury, and I love that because that was the truck that I had at the time, and I felt like, oh my god, they really get me. There's also Lord Kazak, which we've seen around in many iterations over the years, but this is the original down in the Blasted Lands. And they do give 350 loot. So, not a bad way to get a little gear if you need it. There are also a couple of other, anniversary-ish items you can buy from the historians.
Yeah, and the corgi goggles and things like. I see people posting pictures of corgis and all. I was like confused by it at first, and then I did some research and saw that it was a thing that Blizzard made, or these advanced corgi goggles that'll turn everybody, all the NPCs into corgis, and if you go around, it's like really crazy, especially if you end up with some of the, the dark NPCs and stuff like that, where you're like, wow, this corgi's seen some shit. It's like, wow.
They really fought some gnarly battles with those stubby little legs. Yeah, upon logging in during this time of year, you're going to get some Time Warp badges. I think you get 200 Time Warp badges, which can be used to buy the overtuned corgi goggles. You can talk to historians in either Orgrimmar or Stormwind City, and there's a few things they have. There's the corgi pup pet. There's the overtuned corgi goggles, which you can put on, and yeah, everybody looks like a corgi, even NPCs. They also have an exquisite costume set for Edwin Van Cleef. If you don't have that, you can look like him and, I don't know, cosplay in your World of Warcraft gameplay. Still not as good as the Lich King outfit, though. I freaking love that costume set. Walking around as a Lich King just feels crazy good. The other thing you can buy is, this was an anniversary item years ago, was the inflatable Thunder Fury, which, real quick, both you and I saw somebody actually made a model, like a real life model Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker. That thing was gigantic.
Yeah, it was the Master and Apprentice over there on the Rooster Teeth YouTube channel, where they recreated Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker, and they actually get to talk to Alex Afrasiabi, and watching these guys create this thing from start to finish, oh my god, like it's quite amazing. So for any of the cosplayers out there, go out there and look at Master and Apprentice, or just type in Thunder Fury and sort by the the latest upload on YouTube, and just watch and appreciate the creation process of what these guys do. It's quite amazing, from start to finish. So yeah.
Did you say Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker?
I did say Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker, and it's funny because the one guy, I forget what his name is, off the top of my head. Sorry. When he holds it, he looks like a big ass freaking Cole Terran holding the Thunder Fury. So it's it looks pretty cool. And I still think Blizzard needs to let us have a permanent transmog option for that sword. I went through the process of getting that sword. I love it. It's I do go out and I do buy the inflatable Thunder Fury whenever I can, and use it when I'm prot spec, because you can't dual wield the things, and and it just looks silly as arms.
Along with World of Warcraft turning 14, we also have Wrath of the Lich King as an expansion turning 10, and Warlords of Draenor turning 4.
Wow.
So November's a pretty important month for Warcraft,
yeah, it's a birthday for Warcraft. Yeah.
Again, I point to the fact that I'm probably going to say this for the next year, is that I think that the BlizzCon next year is going to be great for Warcraft, because if anything else, it'll be the 15th birthday, which 15 people like 5s when it comes to anniversaries, and I don't know, maybe they'll have
they'll announce Warcraft,
the Elite Tauren Chieftains
mobile.
Warcraft on mobile. People will boo.
People will boo.
Last but not least, Pilgrim's Bounty just started today as we record this, the 19th of November. It runs through the 26th. There's a bunch of different quests that you can do. It's not part of the meta achievement to get your proto Drake. So if you're like, man, I really don't want to have to stress about this, don't stress about it. There's some fun quests. There's a food fight. You do some cooking quests and that kind of stuff. So if you want to feel the full flavor of Thanksgiving in Warcraft, jump on in. I guarantee you're not going to get hit in the face with any oyster stuffing, so it's probably going to be all right. There'll be some other gnarly stuff. So, but Pilgrim's Bounty on till the 26th. Now, last but not least, before we go on this episode, Navox, is there anything in particular that you are thankful for this year?
I am. First, I would like to give thanks to my lovely wife who constantly supports me with everything in life.
Oh.
We are truly a team, and words can't express enough of my appreciation for everything she does. I'm also thankful for my friends and family in game and out, my Facepole Raid team fam. We keep it fun. And also, I'm also thankful to be able to podcast with my warrior brother from another mother, Berzerker.
Oh, that's very sweet of you, sir. Thank you, and likewise, this show that we do, as you well know, it's a labor of love, and being able to get together every couple of weeks to do this, it's always a blast, and I'm thankful that we still get to do this. And
yeah, it's a lot of fun still.
It's still fun, damn it, and that's good, and I'm thankful for that. As we kind of talked about a little bit earlier, the world is a crazy fucking place.
It is.
And there's a lot of stuff going on right now that is deep and dark and tragic, and I'm always thankful for the fact that I have something like Warcraft that gives me that momentary escape, something like this podcast where we can talk about that escape.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you can't be in it all the time, and as I have talked about on the show, just the sort of physical breakdown that I've had because of the accident that I had years ago, just the daily grind of life, I find that I need those moments of escape just to help clear the headspace a little bit and to reorient when I need to reorient. And I'm very thankful that I have the ability to log into a place, to talk to friends like you, to talk to friends like my friend Rommel, who I've been playing with forever, who's on my raid team, and we've been friends a long, long time. To be able to do that is not something that everybody has, and I'm very thankful for that. And just to wake up every morning and see another day, man, because sometimes there are some days you're like, what the fuck is going on? Every day is another day forward, and hopefully towards something better and brighter, and you're working on whatever it is you're working on, and no matter how dark shit gets, just remember, the worst day you've ever had comes to an end, and a new day will start tomorrow.
Yep.
And I'm thankful every day to have my feet hit the floor and get cracking on whatever's next. So with that, I think that'll do it for this episode. Other than this fine program here, where can the good people find you on the internet, Navox?
Well, you can find me over on Twitter and Twitch. I am at NAV_OX.
As for me, you can always find me on Twitter at Berzerker Rage. Feel free to contact this show with your questions, comments, or otherwise at unshackledfuryshow@gmail.com. And you can find this show at all your favorite places where you download your podcasts. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll catch you next time. Farewell.